Hi, my sweet mamas. Welcome back to Life's a Mom. Today we have Lucette with us, and she has her own podcast that she's going to be talking about. And she is a mother of only boys. So we're going to have her introduce herself so we can get to know her a little bit better. Hi, Lucette.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm loving being here already.
Oh, thank you. I honestly feel like our last conversation when we did another podcast, the Moob podcast, it was just so much fun. So I had to invite you over to mine.
So much fun. And we will do the same. We have a podcast, as you mentioned, and it's called Must In-Laws Be Outlaws. And everybody says, oh, it's such a clever idea. But the problem is, in reality, it is a problem.
It really is.
And people are responding to us because everybody has not the same problems, but slightly different, a variation on a theme. And one of the things that I will talk about is, and I know that's one of your questions, is how do you prepare to be a mother-in-law? And the interesting thing is, I don't know if there's exercises and games and research you should do, but there's talking to yourself that you can do. And when you talk to yourself, what you need to do is understand, as much as you may be a great mom, this is not your child. Now, mind you, I'm saying that not to create a separation, to create a distinction that you understand the difference. In other words, you brought up your child for 20 some odd years. You adore your child. Now you have an in-law child. It could be a girl or a boy. Whatever it is, embrace that person, but embrace them honestly. Not like, oh, I love you, love you, love you. How do you love somebody that you barely know? Do it incrementally, do it in steps, and give her room to grow within the relationship. Don't feel you have to conquer every single conversation, and don't feel you have to conquer the relationship that she has between her husband and your son. Your relationship with her is different. It's very hard to understand.
It is. And especially, as being a daughter-in-law, and I've shared this before, I was very close to my mother-in-law before kids. She actually helped plan the whole wedding, and I gave her full access. I was like, Helene, I don't know. I trust you. And we were so close. We would go every day shopping. And then after kids, something changed, and I can't really explain it. And we've had conversations about it, about how maybe I felt so.
You and she?
Yes, I told her one day, I said, I feel her name is Helene. Helene, I feel, sometimes when you say this to me or that to me, I feel like you're criticizing me and you make me feel like I'm a bad mom. But you know what she said to me? She said, I'm sorry and I will try to be better.
Well, that was the right answer.
And that was amazing. I felt so heard. I felt so good. And I have to say, my mother-in-law, though she's a little cold, it's just this, personality, she is one of the sweetest people I know. She really, really is. She's a good woman.
So why do you think that there's distance that's been created between you now?
I think because I felt the criticism and, I know she tries, but I don't know. I also went through postpartum depression and anxiety. And, I know everybody has their lives, but I just felt like I thought she'd be more there for me. But again, I can't expect people to be there for me in a way that I want them to be there, because maybe she thought she was there for me in other ways. Maybe she thought giving me my space was her way of supporting me. I'm not sure, but I think that comes down to communication. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe after this podcast, I'm going to give her a call and have a sit-down conversation, because I do love my mother-in-law. I think she's a wonderful person. I just wish that I maybe had more support.
She may be stepping very gingerly because she doesn't want to overstep her boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And you're interpreting it as not giving you enough support. And she's thinking, but I'm opening up everything for her. I'm letting her do whatever she wants. And I'm trying no longer to be critical of her. So
Right.
I think the best thing that you can do with her is to open the doors to honest conversation, not where you said or she said or he said. No, no blame involved. Just, I want to understand. Coming from you, I want to understand your thinking, and I hope you'll want to understand my thinking. And you may find that you're in a different place after that conversation.
You're right. And I think that's also partially my fault, right? Because I'm big on communication, whether it's with work, whether it's with my husband, anybody. And for some reason, because it's an in-law, it's more touchy for me.
I know.
And it's hard to explain it, but I think you understand me.
Oh, I do. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it totally.
Yeah. So but I quickly want to ask you some questions before we kind of dive into deeper about my mother-in-law. But what inspired the idea behind Must In-Laws Be Outlaws?
What is what?
What inspired the idea?
Oh, it's interesting. Kathy, my daughter-in-law, the wife of my second son, um, high energy, darling to look at, and a good soul. But when she met my son, she wanted me to instantly love her. And she said it. She said it to me. She said, all my other boyfriends' mothers love me a lot. And I said to her, when I use the word love, it's totally sincere. It comes from my heart. And it takes time to develop. I would love to be able to say it, but I can't say it honestly until it actually happens. So at that, she balked. She didn't like it. She felt that I wasn't, shall we say, on her team. I was, but I showed it my way. And in all honesty, I did not make her see that this was my way of reacting, and she did not understand it, and I did not understand her. It took time. Years went by. She had a child, and we became closer and closer and closer. And now we end every conversation saying, I love you.
Oh,
And she said to me, how many people do you think get along this well with their mothers-in-law? And I said, I know, it's extraordinary. I said, let's do a television show, because I'm not oriented to podcasts. I'm from the era of television. And she said, let's do a podcast. She got all excited. I said, I knew what it was. And I said, I don't know how to go about it, but I'm on.
oh.
And so it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. So far, everything's great. We're learning, but the people we're having on as guests have turned out to be amazing. I mean, the last show we did, we had this very prominent event planner on, and he was so profound and so worldly and so giving of his innermost feelings that I came, and I've interviewed people for a long time. I used to have my own television show.
What?
Yeah, I did. And I interview people, for events and things like that. But I was so impressed with him. And that's inspirational. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot that people don't talk about out loud.
That's
And
correct.
even our conversation today might make some people feel uncomfortable. And I think even though some people might feel uncomfortable having these kind of conversations, I think they're important. Because like I mentioned to you before we even started the podcast, I used to be so close to my mother-in-law, and I still love her till this day. I think we're just so different, and I wish she was a certain way, and she probably wishes I was a certain way. I'm sure she wishes her kids were a certain way, and just like certain kids would wish their moms were a certain way. So I need to also not take things personally. But I do feel
By the way,
yes.
that's the operative word, not to take it personally.
Yes, it's not easy though.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not easy, especially someone as sensitive as I am. I always overthink. I tend to do that.
I understand totally.
Yeah. And so, for me, I never fully felt like a daughter when I, at first I did when we were closer. I felt like I was her daughter, and I'm not trying to take anyone's place, because she has a daughter and 2 boys, including my husband. And I was neglected as a child. And I've always strived to find family that will accept me. And so when I met my husband, I obviously loved him and everything. And I was so nervous to meet his family. And I was hoping that they would accept me. And so when I started getting closer to my mother-in-law, it made me feel so good. And she even said to me one day before we got married, she said, you can call me mom. And I almost wanted to cry. I got silent, not because I felt uncomfortable, but because it touched me. But something changed after having children. I also think some dynamics shifted within the family.
Why do you think that was the pivotal moment?
Because I'm not confrontational. And it's partially my fault for not being open from the get-go with her and saying how I feel. And like I told you before, I feel like I can do that with everyone. But when it comes to my in-laws, I get intimidated. At the end of the day, I love my husband and I don't want to trigger anything there. So I learned to just kind of keep quiet, to keep the peace. But I also don't think that's healthy.
No.
So
right.
I think, and you shared your story with your daughter-in-law that you guys at first weren't getting along.
No.
And look at you guys now having your own podcast.
I know. We're so lucky. She lives in New York and we are in Florida.
Oh.
And she has come down 4 times to visit, not with her husband. So my son hasn't come. My daughter-in-law has come. And I'll tell you one more thing that thrills me. One of my sons is separated from his wife.
Okay.
And his wife called me up the other day and she said, I always love talking to you. She said, is it okay? Can I come over and spend the day with you?
Oh,
I know. I was like, of course you can.
Yeah. But you made her feel like part of the family. I'm not saying you have to accept her as your only daughter. And I know you're a mom of only boys, but you want to feel the warmth, the part of the family. And I searched for that.
Maybe you searched too hard.
Explain.
Okay. And I think my daughter-in-law did the same thing. She also had a difficult childhood.
Okay.
And my family is very close-knit. I have 3 sons. I have a sister, a brother. We do so much together. If something happens in the family, each one calls the other one to see how they're doing.
Oh, wow.
And they don't live near each other. I mean, one lives in New York, one lives in Florida, and one lives in Spain. And it doesn't matter. All the girls my sons dated only wanted to be in the family because it was so she wanted to, and I understand that. And she wanted to so badly that she wanted, I guess the lack of the right term is she wanted immediate gratification, which may have been what you wanted as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you got it right away. You got it. And you said, oh, yay, I'm so happy. This is terrific. But then when you had your children, now I don't know all the dynamics, but she may have felt I better back off. She's not going to want me to give her advice about bringing up her children. So maybe I should back off. And you probably were very busy. You had little kids and still do.
Right. And I was also dealing with postpartum depression. I didn't even know it yet. Postpartum anxiety and depression. I actually think, as you're speaking, I think because before having children, she felt like we were so close that she could tell me anything she wanted. And maybe that's my fault going, it's not my fault that
It's nobody's fault. Don't feel that.
No, but even with me, with a good friend that I feel close with, I'll tell her, hey, I don't think that dress looks good on you. I would wear something else. And she would appreciate that just like I would. That's the type of relationship.
So you basically were girlfriends.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would go out all the time. People thought she's my mother. Like we would go to Nordstrom together. We would really, and everything we did together, wedding invitations. We sat down. I was at her house. My husband knew when he would come home and I wasn't home that I'm with her.
Wow.
That's how close we were. So maybe she felt so comfortable and maybe she got offended by me having a conversation with her and telling her, hey, I feel like you're kind of being critical. She maybe thought, okay, maybe I'll back off. So
that's what it sounds like.
It sounds like that, and maybe that's partially my fault though.
Let's not go there with your fault, my fault, whose fault. It doesn't matter. This is day one. Move forward. That's it. Forget about the past. Use it as a learning experience.
Right.
And then invite her into your life again. And that's how you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I do miss her.
I
I
don't
miss
mean
those
to-
moments.
Yeah. And tell her that. Say,
See, that's hard for me because I'm a very warm person. When you come to my house, I give you a hug. Please feel at home. Come. What do you need? I open a table of food. They're very nice, right? They would do that, but they're Russian Jews. Is the best way I could explain.
I hate to stereotype, but
But that's the best way I can have you understand. Russian Jews.
Right.
Good people. Just
So somebody always has to take the high road, whether it's the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law. Somebody has to take the high road. And when both do not, then you have a standoff and it's no good. So you're a very sensitive person. I can tell just from the conversation. And she doesn't know for sure where you stand anymore. I think she's a little confused. You invite her. You invite her into your life again. Not the way it was. It will not be the way it was. You're a mother now. You have children. You have responsibilities. You have a podcast. I don't even know what else you do. These things take up your time, and you do not have the time for her. And maybe she feels a little insulted about that. It used to be you'd go everywhere together. You can't do that anymore. Discuss it with her openly. Make yourself notes that you want to have bullet points that you will discuss with her. And just open the door and tell her, I love you very much. I've always loved you. I feel badly that our relationship has changed. Let's see what both of us can do to make a difference.
Yeah. Makes me a little emotional. But yeah, I will take that advice.
I didn't mean to give you something.
No, thank you for that. I care. And
I know you do. I can hear it and see it.
Yeah. So I love her. I do. And that might be a little awkward for me to say to her at first because I haven't said it in a while.
But you've said it so many times to everybody else. Now you can say it to her.
Right. And even if I don't hear it back, I'm not going to take it personally.
There you go. Be prepared. Whatever you get, it's all a bonus.
I love that advice. Thank you for that. I'm going to take that and put that in my pocket.
Good.
So a big question that a lot of people would love to hear from you is, what has motherhood taught you over the years?
I was thinking about that. It's a collection of stages. You cannot say, always be this way, and then your children get to be in their 20s, and you still be that way. It's not that way. You take your cues from your children. Know what your values are. Know what your standards are. Set them for your children. But then understand you may have one child who's very outgoing, very athletic, very outgoing, and the other child who likes to sit with a book and he's non-adventuresome. Do individual things with each of them and take your cues from your kids. So when yours are 1 and 3?
Yes.
Okay. They're very little. But the 3-year-old's already making himself clear about a lot of things.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Sure. Right. Okay. If I tell you how old I am, not how old I am, how old my children are, I can't be, I could not have had them when I was 3, let's put it that way. So my kids are old. I have a granddaughter who's 19.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But I do also have boys who are 13 and 11. And then I have twins grandsons who are 4.5.
Wow. So it's a different big age
oh,
gap. Yeah.
My God. And they're at different levels. And I'll tell you an interesting thing. I digress a little bit, but I'll share. The boys who are 11 and 13 live in Spain. And my husband and I try to go and spend as much time as we can with them. And this particular time, we were there several months. So about a month before we were due to go home, my older grandson said to me, they call me Manu, and he said, Manu, can you stay longer? Make the day that you leave further away. So I said, well, I'll think about it. And then I looked at the younger grandson. I said, and what do you think? He says, you could go home. So I was like,
Oh my God.
what? Okay, now it's the day before we're going home, and I have spent now a lot of time with them. And so has my husband, and enjoyed them and gone to their soccer games and their basketball games, and, all the stuff. And now the older grandson again says, Manu, couldn't you stay longer?
Aw.
And now I look at the second one and I say, so what do you think? He says, I would like you to stay longer too.
Aw.
So I graduated.
You graduated.
Right. I graduated. And I knew why. I knew why.
Why?
A couple of things. When I first came, in order to develop a relationship, I kept asking him questions. How was school? What did you do with this? How, blah, 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 blah. And he turned to his brother. He said, she's asking me so many questions.
Oh my God.
I thought I was making him feel important. He didn't want that. He just wanted continuity in conversation. But as time went on, I didn't have to ask him questions. I would see what was going on. Hey, I saw you were playing with Joe Schmo. That looked like a great basketball game you were in, something like that. I was involved,
Mhm.
and I allowed myself to be involved. And I pivoted my position to address his life, his older brother's life, so that, and as they mature, I adjusted again and again. So now I don't say things like, how was school? Because I don't want to talk that way. I'll say to him, do you think you could teach me to rollerblade?
Get out of here.
You think I'm going to rollerblade?
I was like, I don't think so.
So he said to me, if you hold my hand.
Aw.
I said, okay. But the stuff like that, I'm like, I'm giving you examples.
Yeah.
The bottom line here is, now I have children. I mean, my oldest son, here it goes, is this summer he'll be turning 60.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing to me.
Wow.
Too. I know.
Are you doing anything special?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing anything special for his 60th?
Well, yes and no. And that's another story, which I'll tell you after the podcast.
Yes.
But we always do something special. Always. Celebrations have always been very important in my life and my family's life. So his younger brother is 25 months younger, and then his youngest brother is 8.5 years younger. So I have had to change the way I address them. I mean, I'm not going to say to him, did you play basketball today?
Right.
So I taught, and I tailor my conversation to what I know they have an interest in. And for the most part, it works. You're not always perfect. And my motto is, the word perfect should be removed from the lexicon, because there is no such thing as perfect.
I agree.
And if we understand that, we won't be so hard on ourselves.
That's right. Yeah, so many of us really strive to be perfectionists, but you can't be perfect.
I hope that answered your question.
It did.
Yeah?
It did, yes, because it's true. Like, I expect a perfect relationship, and that won't always happen.
Oh, but I mean, I have to tell you, I'm so gratified now. I mean, I'm 100 years old.
Oh, stop.
But I will say I'm gratified how many people say to me, wow, you brought up a great family.
Wow. That's the best compliment you could get.
That is the best compliment. Because as a parent, that's first of all, that's your legacy.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
And number two is, you don't get raises. You don't get promotions. What do you get? You get the kids who appreciate you, your own children.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you're lucky, you get your in-law children. And then maybe outsiders look in and they say, wow, they did a good job.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful.
I love that. Well, speaking of in-laws, what was it like becoming a mother-in-law for the first time?
I have to admit, probably like most mothers-in-law, I thought, because I'm a good mother, I'm going to be a great mother-in-law. But I told you it didn't work with Kathy. I couldn't give her advice because I'm filled with advice, and that was one key thing I have learned. Back off. Back off.
Okay.
And it was the best advice I could give myself. But in the beginning, especially when she had her daughter, I would say, "Oh, you're going to take her outside and she has 101 fever? Why are you taking her outside?" And then I'd say, "I'm being critical. And I don't want to be. And I didn't mean to be, but it came across that way."
Right.
So I really learned to back off. And I never give advice. And this is for all you women who are going to be mothers-in-law. Do not give advice unless asked.
Interesting. I have a question for you, though. I notice when you talk about your daughter-in-laws and when they have children, you don't say, "My grandchild, my granddaughter was born." You say, "When she gave birth to her first," or her. Why is that?
The answer is, and I love my grandchildren enormously, enormously. As a matter of fact, Kathy will tell you, we once went out on a boat and her husband said, "Why are you letting my mother hold the baby?" Because Riley was a baby. She said, "Because it's rough." And she said, "I know that your mother would give up her life to save my child." But even knowing that, it's their children. It's their children, and respect that. And that's what all mothers-in-law really have to learn. It's not your grandchild and also their children. It's their children and also your grandchild.
It's so funny because I remember there was one night, it's happened multiple times, but specifically this night, where I think it was Passover. And, when a baby is born after the bris,
Yes.
they have to wear the long dresses so it doesn't,
Yeah.
So I remember my father-in-law, I love him to death. It's nothing personal, but he goes, someone made a joke about how he's wearing like a dress, my baby after the bris. As a joke, whatever. And my father-in-law goes, "My grandson will not be wearing dresses." And I didn't think anything of it.
Of course not.
But then someone came to me and said, "Why does he say your child is his grandson and not your child?" And I never thought about it. But that's why I asked you, because I was curious to hear your point of view. It's very interesting.
The juxtaposition,
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, because I've noticed you've been saying it their child, not, "Oh, my granddaughter," when my granddaughter was born.
Oh, and I'm so crazy about my granddaughter.
No, of course. It's just the way you word
all
it.
my grandchildren, but it's first their children. My husband says to me, "They're putting the kids to bed too late." I said, "It's not your business." He says, "Don't you care?" I said, "Of course I care." I said, "I put my children to bed when I thought was right and let them do what they want. You're not going to say anything?" I said, "No, I'm not going to say anything."
I love it. Okay. Well, I think that's very good advice. I really do. I really do. So there is such a negative stereotype around mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationships specifically. Why do you think that exists?
I didn't mean, sorry.
No, it is. Maybe it is. Please share.
Having been a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law, I can tell you most of that is valid. It's valid. The jokes, as a matter of fact, one of the things we do in our podcast is we start each podcast with a joke.
I love it.
An in-law joke. Now, let me just backtrack a little bit. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationships are tough. In-law relationships are tough. And all relationships are tough. I don't care how good a relationship you have with your sister, your brother, your husband, your friends. You do have to be cognizant of what you're saying and what you're doing, or the relationship will fall apart. So mother-in-law, daughter-in-law ones are even harder because a mother-in-law comes in with, "I've been a mother. I've been married. She has not." Now, I've entered the relationship as a mother-in-law. Poor Kathy, she was the guinea pig. By the time my other daughters-in-law came into the relationship, I was a lot more experienced. By the way, not perfect.
Not perfect.
But I learned. I learned. And that's the beauty of it. Don't go into it when your boys are little. Don't go into it when they're bigger thinking, I know what it's like. I've been a daughter-in-law, and I won't do that. You'll do your own mistakes. You'll make your own mistakes. Don't think you know it all, and that's the big mistake. A lot. I thought my mother was the most brilliant woman I knew, and she would say to me, "I know what I know. I don't have to know anything else." What? What?
I love that.
So keep yourself open, and that's the best advice I can give anybody, a mother-in-law or a daughter-in-law. Try to understand it from their perspective. You may not be able to, but give them the benefit of the doubt, whether you're the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
I have a situation that took place when I was the daughter-in-law. I adored my in-laws. Oh my God, I thought they were fabulous. They were so terrific. And I was so happy that they embraced me and they acted like they loved me. Notice I use the word acted. It was an act. And
No way.
I learned that as time went on. I consider myself very sensitive and perceptive. And it came to a point, my father had died. My in-laws were there to help my mother. They were terrific.
Aw.
And then my mother remarried, and I have a sister who's a great deal younger than I am, a
Mhm.
lot, like 13 years. And I have a brother as well, but he was away, and this was for some holiday. I forget which holiday. And my mother-in-law was making the holiday, and she invited my husband and myself. We didn't even have children yet. And she said, by the way, she said, I cannot invite your mother and her husband and your sister. I saw your eyes go, what?
Why?
That's what I said. I said, why not? Oh, she said, it's really too much work for me. And she wasn't old, but she had had breast cancer, but she was better. But that was what she said. So I foolishly said, oh, don't worry. I'll come over the day before and I'll help you. I'll do everything. No, she said, that won't work. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make it in my house. Then you don't have to do anything. No, she said, it has to be in the mother-in-law's house. And then I got the point.
Wow.
She didn't want my mother there.
But why?
Because my mother was a very strong personality and truly a brilliant woman. And she dominated the conversation. And she didn't want, and you know what? I said to her directly, and I was young, I didn't have children. I said to her, by doing this, you are going to create a rift in the family. She said, what can I do? Yeah. And it did create a rift. And I vowed I would never, ever go to her house again for any holiday. And I never did.
Wow.
I made every holiday myself. What are you going to do? I tried to make it right.
Did you involve your husband?
Did I
involve your husband, his mother? Talk to her.
My husband would never say anything to his mother.
No?
Oh, no. And she wouldn't listen to him anyway. I could have involved my father-in-law, but he would have stuck by her because he was, he didn't want to make
I get that.
So she got the point.
Wow.
She'd say, are you coming for a Thanksgiving? No, I'm sorry, I'm making it. Are you coming for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur? No, I'm making a big break the fast.
Wow.
I made every single holiday from September to January. And you know what? I'm richer for it. She didn't realize she made me richer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But you have a healthy relationship with your daughter-in-law. So what do you think helped create such a healthy relationship between you and your daughter-in-laws?
Yeah. Oh, and I think that both of us wanted it. We both tried. Kathy did a lot of work to evolve, and I did it too, differently. She did it one way, I did it another way, but we kind of just met in the middle, and it worked. Now, I have 2 other daughters-in-law. I told you the one that's estranged.
Mm-hmm.
She also, has her own issues about things, but she's a good person. And so now, we have, even though she's not in a marriage per se,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the one who's in Spain. And I mean, she said to me when we left, you can come anytime and stay as long as you want, which is
Aww.
very. So the bottom line is, as a mother-in-law, back off. Back off.
Back off, guys.
Yeah, we think that by putting our 2 cents in, we're making it right, and we
Right.
aren't.
No.
And
Sometimes it's better to kind of back off.
Let the daughter-in-law invite you in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't push yourself in.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take this advice too for my future.
Yeah.
They're young, but. So was there ever a moment where you realized, wow, we actually have something really special here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Long before the podcast. I mean, the podcast was the result of the something special. Oh, yeah. No. It was the kind of conversations that they shifted.
Mm-hmm.
They shifted from a formality of sorts to an intimacy of sorts.
Oh, yeah.
But we never step on each other's toes. As a matter of fact, we had an issue. We were discussing something. It was after we had done our own podcast. We were exhausted, and I could see both of us weren't relating right. We were like tired. I said to her, you know what? Let's table this for another day because both of us are tired. She said, you're right.
You're able to read the room.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to a woman becoming a mother-in-law, and what advice would you give to a daughter-in-law navigating a family relationship?
Good question. A really good question. To the daughter-in-law, I would say most daughters-in-law really do want to be part of the husband's family. I did, Kathy did, you did. Not unusual. Don't expect too much too soon. I guess the answer to that is manage expectations. As a mother-in-law, I told you, back off. Back off. I cannot tell you how important that is. I'm not saying keep away.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I'm not saying don't have intimate conversations. I'm saying don't push yourself in. Allow your daughter-in-law to blossom. Let her know that you love her and you love what she's doing. Let her feel that you're not being critical. That's so important.
I so agree. Oh, Lucette, thank you so much for coming today and sharing all your
pleasure.
wisdom. I really enjoyed our conversation.
I did too.
Yes.
I think it was wonderful.
Me
I enjoyed it a
too.
lot. We had fun last time.
We did.
And
See,
this
now I
is
have to
great.
come to yours.
100%. Absolutely. We won't be doing the broadcasts until in Florida.
She told me November. Kathy, I spoke
yeah,
with Kathy.
Yeah,
So,
but
thank you for being here, and to all the listeners listening, thank you for being here and hearing this wonderful conversation. I'm going to link all of Lucette's information in the description. And remember, you're doing better than you think. I'll see you next week on Life's a Mom.